What is up, college football fans? It is your boy. Happy Tuesday to everybody, and happy November to everybody. It's a beautiful day here in Summerville, South Carolina. Of course, I'm inside today because I have to listen for the doorbell. I'm waiting on a delivery. I can't sit outside. Anyway, today is the day that a lot of people have been waiting for in the college football world. It's the signification of the last stretch of the season every year, ever since the playoff era began in 2014. We get our first playoff rankings tonight, so all of the talk about the AP poll rankings and all the bitching and moaning that goes on between fan bases and whatnot about the AP rankings all year long, you can go ahead and kiss that goodbye. The AP rankings no longer mean anything to anybody until the next ones come out for next season. From here on out, it's the committee that we have to listen to, and that's what we're going to talk a little bit about today. So every Tuesday, the rankings will come out for the remainder of the season. And then after the conference championship games, that Sunday after, will be the final playoff rankings when we find out who actually gets to go to the playoffs. There's still a lot of football left to be played, right? We still got 4 weeks of ball left in the regular season. So a lot can happen, and a lot of these teams have to play each other, and a lot of these teams have to play, good teams and whatnot. Anyway, so what I like to do every year, since everybody has their personal rankings they put out every week, right? I mean, just about everybody does their own rankings every week. What I like to do once it hits playoff time or playoff committee time is project. Yeah, I don't want to give you who I think should be in the top 10 in the playoff rankings tonight. I want to try to guess what the playoff committee is going to put these teams at tonight at 7 p.m. And I'll give you a little bit of reasoning why. So first of all, they change what they say they value and take into consideration a little bit more every year and a little bit more each week. So basically what I've found is that they rank these teams each week, and then whatever fits the narrative is what they'll say the reason why that they ranked them that way. So 1 week it'll be like, well, we really valued this team's win over ranked opponents, and the next week it'll be, oh, well, this team they just looked better. They passed the eye test. So they'll pick whatever teams they think are the best 25. In this case, I'm going to do 10, and then they'll give you some reasoning explanation, talking out both sides of their mouth, explaining why they chose to rank them in that order. Now, I will say that the playoff committee changes every year. I mean, some of the people that are on were the same as last year, but there's sort of a rotating door of new faces coming in and out of the committee on a yearly basis. So you're going to get a little bit of a different type of feel from each committee on how they do things. One thing they have been consistent about, in my opinion, is that they do seem to really value strength of record and ranked wins. Now, strength of record is what your record is and who you've beaten up until this point. Strength of schedule is the entire season as a whole, all right? And strength of schedule really changes. I mean, if you had Notre Dame being a top 5 team at the beginning of the season and you had them on your schedule, that really helped out your strength of schedule. But right now, Notre Dame clearly doesn't look like a top 5 team, so is it really help your resume out that much? I don't know. We'll find out what the playoff committee says. But those two things in particular, especially this early, right? So this is the first ranking show tonight. So they don't really have anything to go. They don't have their last week's rankings to go off of. They've got to create their own, which is also what they claim to do every week. Each week is a new season. We start over from scratch. We forget about what happened last week. We look at these teams as a season as a whole, blah, blah, blah. You can believe that if you want to. I don't doubt that they try to do that, but there's no way. You're human. You remember where you had teams last week, and you remember what happened last week, so I don't want to hear that. But anyway, what I'm going to do right now is try my best. This is fun. I mean, that's all this is, and I want your input on this too. At the end of the video, I'll be asking you to leave me your list in the comments section about where you think the playoff committee is going to rank these teams tonight. Not where you think the team should be, but where you think the playoff committee is going to put them. So that's the game we're playing today, and I'll go first, all right? So I'll start with the top 10, 9, and 8. I'm only doing the top 10, not the top 25. I have UCLA at 10. I think they'll have UCLA at 10. I think they'll have Southern Cal at 9, so 2 Pac-12 teams there. And oh, surprise, a 3rd Pac-12 team, Oregon, at 8. So, in my opinion, 8, 9, and 10 will be Oregon, Southern Cal, and UCLA. I think in that order, but I wouldn't be surprised if you saw a flip between, who was it? Southern Cal and UCLA. Those could probably be 9 and 10 in any order. We'll see. I have UCLA at 10, or I have them putting UCLA at 10. Number 6, moving on to an undefeated team now. No, sorry, I need to do 7 first, don't I? Now you start seeing the last of the one-loss teams, and that's Alabama. Pete, do you really think they're going to have Alabama all the way down at 7? It's Alabama. They started the season out at number 1. Yeah, because they have a loss. I know it's to Tennessee, and we'll see where I think they have Tennessee ranked. But, yeah, I think that they're going to have Alabama down at number 7, not just because of the loss to Tennessee, but because of the performance, close calls, and a couple of the other games. I think that's the reason they'll have them slightly below number 6. And number 6, I have is TCU. Undefeated, obviously. We'll see if they have the, the cojones to put a one-loss team ahead of an undefeated team at this point in the season. We'll find out tonight. I say they won't. TCU at 6. Michigan at 5. Michigan. Pete, have you seen how dominant Michigan's? How could they not have Michigan in the top 4? How is that possible, Pete? You don't know what you're talking about. Well, the reason is because what I just said earlier in the video is I think that they are going to value strength of record at this point in the season among these undefeated teams. And the fact of the matter is Michigan's out-of-conference schedule is atrocious, the worst in the country, the worst in the Power 5. So that's why. Michigan might be the best team in the country for all I know. For all you know, too. We don't know. But from the playoff committee's perspective, and Michigan controls their own destiny. Whether they're ranked 5 or 3 tonight doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things. They got everything ahead of them. But I think they'll have Michigan at 5. So now we get into the top 4. Clearly, I have Clemson at 4. Do I think Clemson is the 4th best team in the country? Not right now, I don't. We'll see what happens this weekend and from here on out for the rest of the season. But I think they'll have them ranked in the top 4. Why? Because they have several ranked wins. And that's really all it comes down to. Their strength of record right now, I didn't even look it up before the video. I probably should have. That would have been professional of me to do that. But of course, I didn't do that. Last time I saw it was 2nd in the country. It's got to be at least in the top 5. And that's based on ranked wins. And Clemson has a bunch of them. All right? So that's why. Clemson at 4. Then I'll have Ohio State 3. This is tough. 2 and 3, well, 1, 2, and 3 really were tough to put in order. And let's just say what they are, right? It's Georgia, Tennessee, and Ohio State. I have Tennessee, look at my paper here, I'm not lying, at the top. Tennessee number 1. I have Tennessee number 1 for the playoff committee because of their strength of record and how they've looked doing it. They have been, in my estimation, the most impressive team to date. And don't get me wrong, Ohio State's been blowing teams out, and I get it. They look great too. When you talk about 3 teams that have all been pretty much dominant all season long against all their opponents, you start to have to kind of pick and choose. And right now, I think that Hendon Hooker and this Tennessee football team, maybe it's because they're new to the scene, I don't know. Maybe it's because of some of the numbers they're putting up and the flashiness and the way they're beating some of these teams. I don't know. But I think they're at the forefront of every committee member's mind right now. And I think they'll get the nod tonight and get number 1. But again, this is very hard. So I have Tennessee 1, Georgia 2, and Ohio State 3. I don't have them that way. That's how I think they're going to rank them. We'll see if I'm right. Again, I would like for you guys to let me know where you think the teams are going to be ranked. Also, I will be streaming the rankings tonight on my YouTube channel. The ACC show we do every Tuesday night at 7 p.m. with me and your boy Sea Dog. We will still be doing the show tonight. We'll start a couple of minutes early. We'll watch the ranking show for 20 or 30 minutes or however long that takes. We'll discuss that. Then we'll move on with the ACC show. Also, the ACC show tonight, big celebration, episode number 50. Yeah, episode number 50. So we'll do a little bit of a celebration for that as well. Can't wait to see you there. Your boy, checking out.